How's it going, everyone? Finally getting to do this video on DPDR, depersonalization and derealization. I'm getting so many requests to talk about this a little bit more and just give some insight on it and my own personal experience with it. So I'll get straight into it. I did take a couple of notes just to get into more greater detail to help people and support people more about what's truly going on with them, and just normalize it, because that's the best thing with all these like panic attacks, anxiety disorders, agoraphobia, DPDR. When you just normalize it and break it down to what it actually is, taking the fear away from it just helps so much, So again, we've been doing the exact same thing with DPDR. All these things, like when we have no real information on what's going on, we always catastrophize it and make it out to be something that it's absolutely not. Like DPDR is a very bewildering, almost, it is quite scary when you like start to experience like a detachment or like a dissociation from, again, too much stress, which is what it basically is. But when you start to feel that, which when I first started felt it, I was like, okay, something's not right here. I must be, developing some form of psychosis or mental illness. And I'll get into that in a deeper video, but I started to Google all these like disorders. Like I'd go on and Google like a test for bipolar or borderline personality disorder. Like you start to think that there's a breakdown there and you're gonna go into psychosis or something like that. Although I didn't have the psychosis fears, I did fear that I'm developing a severe mental illness, but just was not the case and is never the case with DPDR. But again, having no knowledge on the subject, that's the rabbit hole where this thing can bring you down. So we're not focusing on any sort of facts what this can, when we have no knowledge, we're not focusing on any facts that what this exactly what it basically is. We're just focusing on how we feel and interpret to it for it to be. So we'll get into it. So DPDR, basically what that is, it's just it's a state of the central nervous system basically is on two levels. Is the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest, and the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight and flight. So with fight and flight, the sympathetic nervous system, you're basically stuck in that, and your mind has experienced so much stress that another protection mechanism kicks in, which is DPDR, depersonalization, derealization, from too much stress, an overload of stress into the central nervous system, and your body is operating on fight or flight. And basically, this mechanism kicks in when in traumatic events and stuff like that, and when you with the panic disorder and stuff like that, or a trauma. For me, it wasn't the exact trauma, it was the trauma of the panic. To have this experience that was like thinking you're gonna literally die, that's a traumatic experience for anyone who has a panic attack. Like you really feel like that you're on the edge then. So after that, then I experienced this so many times that I was not sleeping, not eating and stuff like that, and I just went into this state of like, I didn't know who I was, Of course I knew how I was, but with the DPDR, you're in this state, this bubble of like, to explain it, just like, some people can't even feel like love for their loved ones, or like, everything just feels so detached and unreal, and you don't feel like you don't know who you are anymore. And that was the big one for me. I felt like you feel like you're losing touch with yourself, and you're going into this deep cycle of a severe mental illness, or something like that, something severe or something just catastrophic is going to happen, which is just totally not true. This isn't dangerous, This is another protection mechanism. When the body goes through traumas and stuff like that, and then the panic comes out, and the panic is another protection mechanism to the body. And when the panic isn't doing it for us and we need more rest, boom, DPDR, we get that, because the body is even more stressed. And again, these protection mechanisms, we need them. We need these protection mechanisms in our life. And again, to normalize this, and like, how do we overcome this? Like, and it's actually like anxiety disorders, even to put labels on them. I guess we have to put labels on it to understand like in detail what they actually are. But panic disorder, health anxiety, agoraphobia, all these things are based around the same, it's all the same shit really, but obviously it's all different but all the same, if you get what I mean. But with the DPDR, it is the most extreme form of like symptom of the anxiety. You know, it's, you know, the feeling of detachment, that, you know, it's just not nice, and there's no other option just to think, right, something just isn't right here. I've never experienced this before. I'm on my way out here, this is something not right. And you start to bring yourself down this rabbit hole again of just constantly scaring yourself and wanting this to go away. That's the thing to recover from this, like, you want to just release, you want to just get rid of it so quickly, but in trying to push it away and get rid of it and not accept that it's there and understanding, you're just digging yourself a deeper hole, and it will linger for a bit longer than it should. You know, I had small bouts with DPDR. My first year of it was, I had it a lot, but after that then it went, and then I'd only really get it after really severe panic attacks that were lasting for days. I go into this dissociation state of, like, not like feeling attached to myself and stuff like that, just flooded with DPDR. Anyway, how do we overcome this? You know, number one, we need to normalize it. What I'm trying to do here, that it's not dangerous. It's not you thinking that you're going to develop some sort of brain damage or psychotic disorder. It is not that. It's not that. Like, it's impossible for you to develop any sort of, like, psychosis or a severe mental illness because of DPDR. It's a protection mechanism, another protection mechanism that kicks in when the body is in too much stress. You know, so how do we develop, like, how do we recover from this, right? Recovery is obviously different for every single person. You know, with DPDR, it can last for days, it can last for a few weeks, it can last for up to a couple of months, or some people have it for a year or two, 3 maybe, you know. It's very rarely that people have it, like, very, 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 very rare that people have it for many, 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 many years. And if they do, it's mainly from not having the education on what's truly going on. So it is, you know, some people can have a very long term, but majority of people, high percentages, have it for very short term periods in their life. And I had it for short term periods and just some periods of really high stress. So it is very rare for someone to have this for a numerous amount of years. So if you are going through this, if you have the right information, you can totally overcome it. So how do we overcome it? Well, the biggest thing is learning and educating yourself on it, and then you got to accept. Acceptance is a huge thing when it comes to these nervous system. You know, when you're trying to balance out the nervous system from fight or flight into, you know, rest and digest. Like, you got to accept when you're fighting, you're constantly just feeding that stress response. You got to be able to balance yourself out, and the brain's always seeking to balance this out, and the brain and the body are always seeking homeostasis. They're always seeking ways to naturally get back into their state of wellness and vitality. And when you just leave that alone, if you constantly press that, looking for answers, looking this, that, fear, checking, you know, your body's not getting the rest, your brain's not getting the rest. You gotta leave your mind, let your mind still, let your mind be. Accept it. This is horrible for now, but I have the right information now. It's not going to be too stressful anymore, I hope. Let the body heal naturally. Let the mind heal naturally, because it will naturally do that anyway. Whether you think it's happening or not, it's happening on a cellular level. And the brain and body are always trying to find ways to get back into homeostasis. It's what the brain does, it's what the body does. So guys, you got to accept this. Stop pumping yourself with fear. You know, there's great information out there on it on other people's channels. Fantastic information on it. And all this is dampening. It's getting rid of the fear of what exactly this is, because it's quite bewildering. It's quite scary. I was terrified as well. You know, it was awful. It's a horrible thing to go through. All these disorders, agoraphobia, and stuff like that. And even in, like, I had this crap for 10 years, and people always ask me, "No, did you have agoraphobia? Yeah. Did you have health anxiety? Yeah. Did you have panic disorder? Yeah. Did you have generalized anxiety disorder? Yeah. Did you have DPDR? Yeah." I had a fucking all. You know, and it was in periods. I started off with my first panic attack, then I developed panic disorder and generalized anxiety for a long time. And then over time, you think you're doing naturally the right things with, like, stop going places and stop doing this and, like, create less tension, stuff like that. But in reality, you're doing the complete opposite. You're avoiding life and then eventually develop agoraphobia. So that's what happened to me. I developed then agoraphobia. Then as things got worse, then there'd be moments of DPR, then I'd check and think I'm, you know, with my heart, then I'd get health anxiety. So my 10 years, I had all those disorders packed into one. And then when I started to recover, I didn't just heal one thing, I healed the whole package, because that's what it is. It's all linked into one. All these DPDR, panic attacks, panic disorder, agoraphobia, it's all interlinked. And when you decide to, go towards recovery and you think to yourself, oh, but I have to overcome the panic attacks, then the GAD, then the generalized anxiety disorder, then the agoraphobia, I have to overcome that, then that. No, you tackle one and the whole house comes down. So that's one great thing about recovery. Another great thing about recovery is no matter how many years that you've suffered with this for, it doesn't matter. The brain is so neuroplastic that when you start to recover the correct way, you can really get there in a matter of months. The longest it really takes someone is a full year, really, that in my experience and the stories that I've heard from people who've recovered and researching this for many, many, many years. When people take the right approach, very rarely longer than a year that someone takes to truly recover. It took me 5 to recover from 10 years. And that's incredible. So it shows when you do the right things on a very consistent basis, and when you have setbacks, get straight back on it, because I had setbacks too, but I went straight back on it. I didn't allow a bad day to turn into a bad month, and that's why I had to have great mental strength and resilience to not allow that, to have these patterns in place that I want to develop, new habits, new behaviours. And that's how it took me 5 months to recover. But I was sped up with the method I use with the jogging. Obviously exercise like that is going to speed up really the recovery process when it comes to anxiety disorders and stuff like that. But people can obviously do it naturally, without jogging. They can walk, they can crawl, they can do whatever they want. Once it's gone through the fear, seeing with it, being with it, sitting with it, letting it override you, understand exactly what it is. And that's the key, guys. So DPDR is not what you think. It's a very bewildering state when you don't know what the hell's going on with you. And the thing is, it's more, you got to be more patient with this than the actual panic disorders and anxiety disorders. They require patience, but this requires a little bit more patience because, panic can almost be like, for some people who with panic disorder, they have the panic attack and then they get, after then it dies down and they get some sort of peace from it. With DPDR, it's a constant, it's constantly there and it's constantly at you. And it can be quite bewildering and it can exhaust you from too much thinking. That's all it is, too much mental thinking, too much time in the fight and flight response that it just develops into another protection mechanism. So we need these, it's actually protecting us at the moment. It's realising the brain and the body is under a lot of stress at the moment and they've experienced a small trauma or a big trauma. And the trauma could be just the panic, which I mentioned previous at the start of the video. The panic is a traumatic event. So some people develop the DPDR after that, and that's it, guys. DPDR isn't this scary monster like the panic attacks are. It's not this. There's no breakaway from reality. None of this is going to happen to you. There's no psychotic disorder coming from this. There's no chance. You're on the total opposite. You're too aware. You're too hyper aware of your body and your mind. You're not losing touch with anything, nor will you ever from DPDR, panic attacks, agoraphobia. It doesn't happen. There's no breakaway from, there's no psychotic break or severe mental illness to come from this. It's just it's when we have the right information, guys, and you do the right approach, you see, like when I recovered, I was like, really? That's all I had to do? But I'd never take that back. My 10-year journey with that has developed me into, I'm just very happy in myself, It developed me in so many areas of life, so many areas. And I would never take that 10-year struggle away. 10 years of my life, you'd think that you wasted them, but in reality, when you look back, there's so many life lessons there, and when you recover and you look back in hindsight, it's like, that was almost meant to be in a way. But anyway, guys, I'll leave it at that. That's DPDR. Sorry for the hold up on the video. I was waiting for the right time to just sit down and relax and make it. And I've been just really busy the last few days with the coaching and stuff like that, and trying to develop things. And yeah, so it took me 2 days to make. Well, it didn't take me 2 days to make. It took me two days to get into to have the time to make. So hopefully this can help people, and hopefully you really understand what the hell's going on. That's the main thing with all these disorders. You got to understand what the main thing is going on, and then you have the method to fix it. And it's as simple as that, guys. You're not stuck like this forever. That's the beauty of these disorders. There's ways out of it, you know. You're not stuck in this forever, and it ain't gonna kill you, and it ain't gonna force you into some sort of, again, to keep mentioning it, because it's positive reassurance for people to look back on this video if they're suffering. This is not what you think it is. This is not gonna force you into a mental, physical breakdown or anything, or a loss of reality, or, you know, a psychotic breakdown, or it's not gonna do any of that ever. Even if you are that rare case that has it for many years, it's still not gonna cause that. And that's only on very, very, very rare occasions, guys. DPR can, you know, what I've read up on people and people who've talked to me and spoke to me in my own experience, you know, a year or two, could be 1, 2, 3 years in severe cases. Other cases, it's just a couple of months or a couple of weeks. And then like me, I was a couple of weeks then in moments. So I'll leave it at that, guys. I hope this video helped people. Again, this ain't dangerous. And that's always the main point of these videos. I'll always try give that positive reassurance to these disorders. I had them for many years, and you just have to realise that they aren't dangerous. And once you get the right method and the right habits, like I keep talking about habits and behaviours, because that's all it is. Like, that's why these are existing within you right now. It's your habits and behaviours and your reactions to what's going on in your body and your mind, you know. And that can be a video for another day, guys. It's 16 minutes long, and I want to be able to post this. So acceptance. Let the body just do its thing. Let the body just heal naturally, guys. Your body and your mind. Let the mind stop bombarding it with all these irrational fears and thoughts, guys. The DPR and the depersonalization, the derealization will lessen. It will go away. And when it goes away, in my experience, it hasn't returned. So only reason why it probably would return for people is when they have a severe adrenaline rush, or as people like to call it, a panic attack. And yeah, anyway, guys, listen, I hope this was helpful for people. Take it easy.